Hello student, I am Dr. Ajay Kumar Sinha, Professor of Chemistry. Today I am going to continue from the last class, that is tips for solving numerical problems based on atomic structure. Actually I am reviewing atomic structure. Under that, now I am going to discuss, I will continue from the last class, tips for solving numerical problems. Angular momentum of electron. Angular momentum of the electron is equal to under root L in bracket L plus 1 outside h upon 2 pi. Angular momentum of the electron is equal to under root L and in bracket L plus 1 outside out of square under root h upon 2 pi. L is equal to azimuthal quantum number. Second important point, principal quantum number n, small n, is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. Azimuthal quantum number L is equal to 0 to n minus 1, where n is equal to maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. This is very important. Principal quantum number n is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. And azimuthal quantum number L is related to n, means principal quantum number. How? Then L is equal to 0 to n minus 1. And magnetic quantum number m, small m, that is related to L, means magnetic quantum number m is equal to minus L to plus L, including 0. For each value of m, a spin quantum number, that is ms, m small m and down small s, ms is equal to plus half or minus half. Two spin quantum number is there, plus half, minus half, means clockwise and anti-clockwise movement. Then here m is related to L. M is equal to minus L to plus L, including 0. And m is related to a spin quantum number, S, that is also called ms. Then ms means a spin quantum number is equal to plus half or minus half. Next, number of subcells in the nth cell. Number of subcells in the nth cells means first orbit, second orbit, third orbit. Cell is also called orbit and it is also called energy level. Correct? But recent concept of cell and orbital is energy level. That is indicated by same way n. The number of subcell within the cell, subcell is there like that way. Within energy level, sub-energy level, both are same. The number of subcells in nth cell is equal to n, means both are same. Number of subcell and cell is equal. Number of subcell in nth cell is equal to n. And number of orbitals in the cell is equal to n square. This is important. Number of orbitals Actually, subshell or suborbit is made up of orbitals like s, p, d, f. Then number of orbitals in the nth shell is equal to n square, a small n square. N is the number of subshells. Okay, I told you subshell and number of shell both are related and both are equal. Number of subshells in nth shell is equal to n, and number of orbitals in nth shell is equal to n square. Number of orbitals in a subshell, again here is important point. Number of orbitals in a subshell, that is equal to 2l plus 1. Remember here, number of orbitals in the nth shell is equal to n square. That is in orbital. But now number of orbitals in subshell, that is equal to 2l plus 1. Okay, question is asked. Next important point, number of electrons in the nth shell. Number of electrons in the nth shell, that is equal to 2n square. N is the orbit number. Then what I discussed, all points are important, and you can answer many questions based on this relation. Now, next point, according to de Broglie equation, lambda is equal to h upon mv. Lambda is equal to h upon mv. Here m is equal to mass, v is equal to velocity, and m into v is also called momentum, h upon p. Okay, where momentum is equal to mv. P is actually momentum, and lambda is equal to v upon mv, or you can tell h upon p. Now I am telling you another important points. Lambda is equal to wavelength, and its SI unit is m, meter, and CGS unit, this is actually SI means international unit. SI means international system. SI, S means system, I means international. Then lambda means equal to wavelength. Its unit is, you can represent in meter in SI unit, and in CGS, centigram second unit. That it is a centimeter. Lambda is equal to centimeter in CGS unit and meter in SI unit. And mass of the particle, kg, kilogram in SI system, and gram in CGS system or in CGS unit. Velocity of the particle, that is the meter per second in SI system, and centimeter per second in CGS system or CGS unit. And Planck constant, h is equal to Planck constant, and its SI unit is 6.626 into 10 to the power minus 34 joule second, JS, joule second. H is equal to Planck constant, and SI unit is 6.6, its value is 6.626 into 10 to the power minus 34 JS means joule second in SI, and in CGS system 6.626 into 10 to the power minus 27 erg second. Okay, actually you remember 10 to the power 7 joule, 10 to the power 7 joule, not 10 to the power 7 erg is equal to 1 joule. 10 to the power 7 ergs is equal to 1 joule. Hence easily this joule you can convert in erg just simply by multiply by 10 to the power 7, or you can divide it by 10 to the power minus 7. Okay, then 10 to the power minus 34 into 10 to the power 7, then 7 by just so 7 you deduct from 34, then what will remain? 27. 27 will remain. And since CGS system, 6.626 into 10 to the power minus 27 erg second. Now next point, Heisenberg uncertainty principle. According to Heisenberg's uncertainty principle, lambda x or delta x we can tell, delta x into delta p is equal to h upon 4 pi. This is actually Heisenberg uncertainty principle. Delta x means change in position into delta p means change in momentum. If you multiply both, that is equal to h upon 4 pi. Or you can write, just do cross multiplication, then delta x into delta p into 4 pi. Delta x into delta p into 4 pi is equal to h. Correct? Or you can write delta p value, can write m into v, that is the m into delta v, that is equal to delta p. Then in the place of delta p you can write m into delta v, that is equal to also h upon 4 pi. Delta x into, in the place of delta p you can write m into delta v, that is equal to h upon 4 pi. And by cross multiplication also it will be equal to h. 4 pi you bring left side, then only h will remain. But always you remember in the term of h upon 4 pi, delta x into delta p, and delta p is equal to m into delta v, that is equal to h upon 4 pi. Now delta x, that is uncertainty in position. In SI system it is measured in meter, and in CGS unit centimeter. And delta v, that is a velocity uncertainty in velocity. Delta v is equal to uncertainty in velocity. That again same way you can write meter per second in SI unit, centimeter per second in CGS units. Again mass, m is equal to mass of the particle, that is the kg in SI units, and gram in CGS units. And delta p, that is equal to uncertainty in momentum. Uncertainty in momentum, that is the kg into meter per second. Kg, just you put the value of mass and velocity, then mass is in kg and velocity meter per second. Then kg into meter per second, that is in SI unit. And in CGS, in the place of kg you write gram, for the meter you write centimeter per second is common. Now gram centimeter per second, that is in CGS system, that is the unit of delta p, that is the uncertainty in momentum. And Planck constant, already told you, same way, h is equal to 6.626 into 10 to the power minus 34 joule second, that is in SI, and in CGS 6.626 into 10 to the power minus 27 erg second. Then this I have discussed tips for solving numerical problems. Now I am going to discuss some points which you should give a special attention. Okay, some points requiring a special attention. Then in that, First point you should understand, cathode rays originate from the cathode. Actually, I am just discussing very important points which require special attention. Question is asked, okay, in medical, means in NEET and IIT, in both mains and advanced. You remember, based on this concept. Then first point, that is the cathode rays originate from the cathode. The value of E upon m of the particles present in them, that is the electrons. The value of E upon m of the particles present in them in cathode is made up of electrons. Remember, the value of Em of the particles present in them, that is the electrons, does not depend upon the materials of the cathode. Correct? Remember, the value of E upon m of the particles present in them in cathode rays does not depend upon the material of the cathode or the nature of the gas kept in the discharge tube. It does not depend upon the nature of the gas taken in the discharge tube. Second important point, anode rays do not originate from the anode. Correct? Anode rays do not originate from the anode. They are produced in the space between anode and cathode. The charge and mass of the particle present in them, and hence E upon m, depends upon the nature of the gas. Okay, here E upon m depends upon the nature of the gas. Correct? But there in a cathode rays, it was not depending upon the gas taken in the discharge tube. But here in case of anode rays, E upon m depends upon the nature of the gas. Next point, actual mass of neutron. Actual mass of neutron, that is the 1.6749 into 10 to the power minus 27 kg, is slightly greater than that of a proton, that is a 1.6726 into 10 to the power minus 27 kg, means neutron is slightly heavier, greater than proton. Then both are in 10 to the power minus 27, both neutron and proton. They are differing in here, see, up to 1.67, that is a common. That is a neutron also 1.67, proton also 1.67, but last two digit it differ. 1.6749, that is for neutron, 1.67, then 1.61 is common in both. Then 1.6749, that is for neutron, and for proton 1.67, that is a 26, last two digit is 26, that is a less. Okay, and minus 10 to the power 27 is common. Then actual mass of neutron, that is a 1.6749 into 10 to the power minus 27 kg, is slightly greater than that of the proton, that is a 1.6726 into 10 to the power minus 27 kg. The next point, the uncertainties. Remember, uncertain word. Okay, the uncertainties calculated from Heisenberg uncertainty principle, that is a delta x into delta p, is greater than equal to h upon 4 pi, are the minimum value. This value on the uncertainty principle calculated from Heisenberg uncertainty principle, that is the exact way delta x into delta p is greater than equal to h upon 4 pi. greater than equal to h upon 4 pi are the minimum values. Okay, is not 100% equal. Greater than equal. Greater than equal to h upon 4 pi. Delta x into delta p is greater than equal to h upon 4 pi are the minimum values. Next, angular momentum of an electron in any orbital. In any orbital. Angular momentum of an electron in any orbital is equal to under root L into in bracket L plus 1 and out of under root h upon 2 pi. That is, it depends only on the value of L, not n. Just remember, it depends only on the value of n and not n. Okay. Thus, electron in any s orbital, that is the 1s, 2s, 3s, etc., has the same angular momentum and so on. Correct? Because it does not, it depends only on L value, not n, not on n orbit number. Thus, electron in any s orbital may be of first orbit, may be of second orbit, third orbit, means 1s, 2s, 3s, has the same angular momentum and so on. Now, very, very important point, nodes. Number of nodes in any orbital. Number of nodes where possibilities of finding electron is 0. Okay, remember, number of nodes in any orbital is equal to n minus L minus 1. A small n, orbit number, n is equal to orbit number, n minus L minus 1. That is the number of nodes in any orbital. Correct? Now, next point, the d orbital which does not have 4 lobes. The d orbitals which does not have 4 lobes, L-O-B-E-S. The d orbitals, there are 5 d orbitals. That question is asked. The d orbital which out of that 4 and d5, 5 orbitals are there, then out of that the d orbital which does not have 4 lobes is dz square. Dz square has no, you can say, they don't have 4 lobes. Okay, the d orbital which does not have 4 lobes is dz square. Next, the number, the d orbital whose lobe lies along the axis. Again, this question important. The d orbital whose lobes, lies along the axis is dx square minus y square. Dx square minus y square. Next point, the number of spectral lines. The number of spectral lines produced when an electron jumps from the nth level to the ground level. Ground level means n is equal to 1. Then that is equal to n into n minus 1 divided by 2. This is actually number of spectral lines. Number of spectral lines produced when an electron jumps from the nth level to the ground level, means n is equal to 1. Then it is given by n, a small n, number of orbit, n in bracket n minus 1. Okay, n is common, outside, inside n minus 1 divided by 2. That is the number of spectral lines. Okay, n into n minus 1 divided by 2. That is spectral lines produced when an electron jumps from the nth level to ground level. Next, de Broglie equation and Heisenberg uncertainty principle are though applicable to all moving particles, that is the moving particles that is for microscopic or macroscopic, they have significant only for macroscopic particles. Remember this point. De Broglie equation and Heisenberg uncertainty principle are though applicable to all moving particles. Moving particles may be macroscopic or macroscopic, MAC, big one. But here, understand, they have significance only for macroscopic particles. It can apply for both. Microscopic means small, macro is big. Okay, then it applies for both, but they have significance only for macroscopic particles. The solution of Schrödinger, next point, the solution of Schrödinger wave equation gives principal, azimuthal and magnetic quantum numbers, but not the spin quantum number. Question is asked. The solution of Schrödinger wave equation gives principal, azimuthal and magnetic quantum numbers, but not the spin quantum number. It was introduced to account for the spin of the electron. A spin quantum number was introduced to account for the spin of the electron. Next point I am telling you. The expected electronic configuration for lanthanum La, that is the Z is equal to 57. The expected electronic configuration for lanthanum means Z is equal to 57 is xenon 54. You have to write configuration for xenon 54 and after that 4f1 6s square. Last two orbitals, that is the 4f1 and 6s square. 6s square, that is the last two orbital. Xenon, after xenon 54 configuration, 4f1 and 6s square, that is for lanthanum. Lanthanum means Z is equal to 57. But actual electronic configuration is, now understand, that is a should be, it should be, but actual, what I discussed, 4f1 6s square. Okay, in a regular way this should be, but actual electronic configuration is xenon 54 and then 5d1 6s square. 5d1, okay, not 4f1, not 4f1, 5d1 6s square. That is, it belongs to D block and not of F block elements. That is 57 comes under D block elements because actually its last configuration is 5d1 6s square, 6s square, not 4f1 6s square. That is a regular way it should be, but actual electronic configuration is xenon 54 5d1 6s square. That is, it belongs to D block, not of F block element. Next point, for writing electronic configuration of cation, remove number of electrons equal to the units of positive charge from the electronic configuration of neutral atom. If suppose plus 4 is there, then what is the electronic configuration? From that minus 4 electron you can do, minus 4, and then you write. Okay, and same way for these things, anion, you have to add equal to the negative charge. Suppose -3 is there, then what is the neutral? In that you add 3 electron. Okay, again I am repeating, for writing electronic configuration of cation, remove, because it is a plus, it means it has lost that number of electron. That's why you are removing. For electronic configuration of a cation, remove number of electrons equal to the units of positive charge from the electronic configuration of neutral atom, starting from the outermost cell. Now last point, today's last point, Bohr's model of atom predicts that electron is always present at a fixed distance of 0.53 angstrom. Remember, 0.53 angstrom or 53 picometer. Picometer means 10 to the power 12. Okay, minus 12 picometer. 10 to the power minus 12 meter. Or in angstrom, you can write 0.53 angstrom. That is the 10, minus 10 meter. Minus 10 meter. If you want to write in picometer, then because 0.53 is there, divided by 100, then it will become 10 become minus 12. Minus 10 will become minus 12. That is the 53 picometer from the nucleus. Then according to Bohr's model of an atom, or Bohr's, you can tell, Bohr's model of atom predicts the electron is always present at a fixed distance of 0.53 angstrom or 53 picometer from the nucleus, whereas wave mechanical model, what I discussed, that is according to the Bohr model, but according to the wave mechanical model of an atom, this model predicts that maximum probability of finding the electron is at a distance of 0.53 angstrom, but it can be present at a distance less than or greater than 0.53 angstrom. Means both is possible according to mechanical model, wave mechanical model, that electron distance from the nucleus may be less than 0.53. Means what Bohr's model told, less than that or more than that. Okay, means distance from the nucleus according to wave mechanical model of atom. This model predicts that maximum probability of finding the electron is at a distance of 0.53 angstrom. That is correct, but it can be present distance less than that or less than or greater than 0.53 angstrom. Okay, maybe 0.53 also, less also, more also. This is according to the wave mechanical model, but according to the Bohr model, it is a fixed 0.53. Then here according to wave mechanical, it is also same, but electron may be not fixed, maybe less also, less than this and little more than this also. Both are possible. Okay, means a maximum probability of finding the electron is at a distance of 0.53 angstrom, but it can be present at a distance less than that or greater than 0.53 angstrom. Today I am stopping only here. Next class again very important points I will discuss. Thank you.